Hey guys, CDTVProductions back here again with the Lyrical Lemonade hoodie. Can you tell yet that it's my favorite one that I own? And welcome back to another 10 great blank from 10 bad blank lists. It's the concept that just keeps on giving. You know how when people make like one video that kind of bangs, it does really well, and then they make like 12 parts to that video? That's the equivalent of this series for me. This list even gives me the opportunity to flip it in the future to do 10 bad rap songs from great albums. Never ends. So let's open up the opinion vault and see what we can find today. As I'm going to be giving you 10 rap songs that I think are pretty great from rap albums that I think are pretty bad. This is CDTV Productions, and let's take a dive inside my opinions.
Really out here in the field and they be slamming shit. Top, 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 top. Giving head taps, left, tap, tap, tap.
Don't say it, don't think it. 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 Don't say it, don't think it.
So we're starting off our list with the greatest brown boy in the game, Nav. So Nav recently went on record saying if an album has 4 to 5 great songs, he considers it fire, and that explains Bad Habits so goddamn much. At most, there's like 5 songs that aren't forgettable on there, and that's coming from me, a closet Nav stan. But at least we got Tap, a song with a really catchy hook that me and my friends have just memed the hell out of whenever we do anything even vaguely related to tapping. Oh, you're on your phone liking an Instagram picture, haha, tap, 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 tap. It's really, it's not even that funny. And it has this really hyped up verse from Meek Mill to open up the track. I mean, he always sounds hyped, so that's just his natural delivery, but it is a nice, energetic start to the song. It's the first real exciting piece of rapping on the whole album, and while Nav is just a tad less energetic than Meek on here, he still does enough to keep the track enjoyable. One of the better songs on here for me.
No, on my wrist, call that Rolly Big Bear. Nigga, see it in the light, go. Big flare.
When I switch lanes, then them doors swing.
Ah, Tyga. No matter what he does, good album sales seem to evade him. That being said, this was the last solo Tyga album to have a good amount of first week sales for an artist of his size. But yeah, this one still wasn't a very good album in my opinion. Why did such a generic rapper have to be given such a nice rapping voice? So yeah, naturally, one of the only songs I liked on this album was a goddamn bonus track. One thing I've learned that I personally like in mainstream hip hop is those dark bell melodies with some floor-shaking 808s and some recognizable rapping voices over it, and that's exactly what this track is. The Game also massively helps out, as his menacing sound is perfect for a track with this kind of feeling to it, making for, in my opinion, the best track from Hotel California.
Because I've been ballin', shot callin', dropping heat back to back while y'all stallin'. Y'all wanna end it up, but I'm all in. Climbing the ladder, ain't no way I'm falling. Come on, my darling, married to the game.
One of my thumbnails says, the worst Logic album so far, in reference to Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, so I'll let you figure out my opinions on it from that. That, of course, doesn't mean that it didn't have a few excellent songs, because it definitely does, and Lost in Translation is one of the absolute highlights. He just waited till the very end of the album to give us it. It's kind of like someone punching you in the mouth and then kissing it better. Like, thanks for the kiss, I guess, but I can't fully appreciate it because of the pain from that punch. Why was that necessary in the first place? Now yeah, the outro of this song is actually kind of exasperating for anyone who didn't like Confessions if you translate it from Japanese. What do you mean it was wonderful, wasn't it? No. But the actual song prior to that is pretty damn incredible. Flowing over very smooth beats with an old school vibe, that is Logic in his element, and he rips up the 2 different beats that are on this song. Whatever my feelings on the whole album are, I can still be really grateful that this song in particular exists.
That's a cold piece of work.
C9 Lexus, what they sniffing when technique get to spitting. My position is giving a hell of a addiction.
And much like Logic, here we have a song from an artist that I really do like overall. But every artist has at least one weak album, at least most of them do, and for me, Strange Rain is the weakest album headed by Tech9. It's not terrible or anything, but Cold Piece of Work is legitimately the only memorable song on there. It is a great one though. It did a really good job of showcasing Tech's newest strange music music signings at the time, Joey Cool and Trilogy, who absolutely steals the show with his verse in my opinion.
Catch a groove if you with it, ayy. Asking me if I think I'm the GOAT. Okay, I admit it, I see the future and that's all that is in it. I put in the work so I know I'ma get it.
The versatility he showcases with his flows is impressive, delivering it with surprising confidence considering he was 19 at the time. It makes me wish that he had more music out there. Of course, everyone else is solid. JL provides a really good hook for the song, but it is mainly that Trilogy verse that just keeps me coming back to the song and makes me love it so much.
I blocked the thought today, stop blowing up my number and stalking my page. I got a thought.
Oh, you thought I was joking when I said that Gunna would feature on all my lists from now on. I feel like I should feature Gunna on every single top 10 I make from now on, because he's already featuring on everything else in 2019. Nah, it's Gunna time, baby. Drip season even on the CDTV channel. In all seriousness, Gunna's most recent album was dripping with uninteresting music and drowning in repetitive flows, but it does make sense to me that the most entertaining track on it, the most interesting one, the best sounding track on the whole album was the one that featured Thugger. The thing I noticed most about this one is Gunna basically follows Young Thug's lead for the whole song. Legit, listen to how Thug flows for 4 bars, and Gunna follows up with the exact same rhythm, just different words each time.
Valley the spot, I go to the yard, and new Gucci stocks, cover a twat. Inside of the race, besides the tent, the curtain away. I had to sprint, I went to the end, unless some old friends can keep up the pace. Me, Gunna, and we since 3 hit a sneak. We done made a few L's and no straight. Got me a meal and fit my plate.
It's the same flow, beat for beat, and this continues throughout the entire song. And it actually makes Gunna semi-interesting to listen to. It works. Now I know that sometimes people, including myself, have said that Gunna sounds like Young Thug a little bit as a criticism. But this song kinda has me thinking, maybe Gunna should sound more like Young Thug, or at least let Young Thug maybe ghostwrite for him and lay down some reference tracks, because Gunna is at his most interesting on this entire album when he is following Young Thug's flow and delivery beat for beat. Because yeah, that's what it is. The constant cadence switches on this song is what makes it hold my attention more than most of the other songs on Drip or Drippity Drop 2.
She mad at me cause she knew I was right. Chill. I've been popping pills, sipping drink all night. Ooh, dropped out, then I got rich. Chill. Dropped out, then I put a paddock on my wrist.
What happened, Lil Pump? So many featured verses that I enjoyed, fairly enjoyable singles from this project, and then it finally drops, and it was pretty underwhelming. Yes, I really did have expectations for a Lil Pump album.
Stupid. Anyway,
And yes, it did disappoint. I kinda set myself up for that one, honestly. I can't deny that it opened up pretty strong though with this track, Dropout. It's one of the only songs that actually plays into the Harvard Dropout idea. Like, I'm not saying that I expected this to be a concept album or anything like that, but it's one of the only ones that actually has a lot of references to that theme and that idea within the lyrics. And the beat is great too, with the building synths on the instrumental giving the song this constant momentum. And I'm not gonna lie, I mostly like when Pump is embracing that unruly, reckless side of his personality. Like, yeah, he's 18 years old and rich, so it makes sense for him to be loud and cocky on his songs if that's what he wants to do. And that is indeed what he does with this one.
They be throwing shade, they so shade. You a pop, don't touch my cup, ice it up.
Okay, first off, why was this not on Takeoff's album? Sure, he only does the hook on this song, but his voice still makes up the majority of it, and it has an otherworldly vibe to it that is literally perfect for an album called The Last Rocket. Actually, never mind the vibe of it, the song is called Rockets. The features would break up the monotony that I felt that project had as well. And speaking of features, I love the Lil Pump verse on this song. I legitimately do. I think it's one of the best guest verses that he's ever laid down.
I don't smoke no OG, bitch, I'm only smoking cookies. Do 20 bands at a random bitch at Tootsie. 30.
He rides the beat so well, and that half singing, half like talking I guess, flow that he does on here is absolutely perfect for the sound that it's going for. He just fits in with this really spacey production a lot more than I thought he would. He is my favourite part of this whole thing, and it has me convinced that he's better at doing features than his own solo music. Of course, Takeoff sounds right at home because, like I said, this straight up sounds like it belongs on his solo album. Rich the Kid is honestly the least interesting part of the track to me. Like, he's just kind of there, but he doesn't really do much. The features and the beat are what make it great, resulting in my top track from The World Is Yours Too.
I keep it with extensions. I'ma pull out like a rock star. Hit me if anything pop up. We got a whole different exit.
I really thought Jaden had a lot of potential to make some very enjoyable music back when Sire dropped, and then he dropped the Sunset tapes to prove me wrong. All the weaker parts of Sire were just even more amplified here, with him mostly coming across as a hip-hop fan with a massive budget to make an album. But there were a couple songs that were saved by the production value and the flows, and Plastic is one of them. It stood out as one of the louder, bolder tracks on an album that was relatively mellow for most of its length. Sure, Jaden doesn't really sound like himself at all with that thick layer of autotune that his vocals are just caked in, and some of the lyrics are still pretty questionable, but he hits all the right beats with his flow. That bit where the beat drops out is so damn catchy because of how he raps over it.
I got the secrets with factual evidence. She want the ring and the bling and the valuable things in the vault with that president.
It's one of those ones that if I really want to, I can look past Jaden's limitations as an artist, because aesthetically this track is pretty nice.
I thought everything was right, that's when you left. Swervin, how you look so perfect on your worst days.
Somehow, this man's album has been on the Billboard 200 charts for the whole year so far. Do you have a single friend who actively bumps A Boogie's music? Who is listening to this? How is it there? This is just my opinion, of course, but A Boogie makes some of the most dull, half-rap, half-R&B music that is out there right now. It took sheer willpower and dedication to finish Hoodie season. Swervin is pretty much the only one that I come back to regularly. Like Me is kind of enjoyable as well, but this one is just easily the most replayable track that's on there. A lot of it does have to do with the London on the Track produced beat. Like, you would really have to mess up to make that beat sound bad, but A Boogie does a nice job of working with the production, and the way he switches his singing tone a few times throughout it is nice. As for 6ix9ine, I know he doesn't fit into this track lyrically or sound-wise in the slightest. It's just such a left turn from what the track was before, but I can't help but love his verse. It's entertaining as hell, and I really don't expect anything more from 6ix9ine than ludicrous music that's just so overblown that I can't help but enjoy it. He made this song even better for me. In a weird way, I kind of miss this man's music, honestly. You know, I kind of miss it. It was fun. It was fun.
Like I run in town, let it sound. Started on the stage, now we in the crowd. Yeah, was with the hype though.
Now I had to put this at number 1 because I'm assuming that this is the one that my audience is gonna disagree with the most. Yeah, I'd be lying if I said Perception was an album that I found all that gripping. I'm not even the biggest NF fan in the first place, and this is my least favourite project from him. I've been meaning to make a video on my feelings about NF's music entirely for like a year and a half now. I really need to get around to doing that at some point. But 100 is a song that I think NF's very over-the-top, in-your-face style really works with. The hyper-aggressive tone of his voice works excellently with a hard, gritty beat like this one. Personally, I do find a fair few of his songs to be over-dramatic, but I feel like this type of song warrants that. It makes it perfect as a hype, brag rap style song. It's interesting because while NF is an artist that raps about himself and like the personal problems he's having a lot, which typically is something that I'm very drawn to in rap music, for some reason, for NF, I'm more drawn to his more turn-up style tracks. You know, such as this one, or The Warm-Up. It goes hard as hell for me, and it doesn't sound like he's trying too hard, and that is why 100 is one of my top songs from Perception. Well guys, that is going to be it for the video today. Thank you so much for watching. I would appreciate you leaving a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribing if you want to see content similar to this. One thing I forgot to mention at the start, keep in mind that I'm not saying that there only is one song that's good from these albums. All of these albums have probably at least a couple or a few songs that I do enjoy. I just picked what I thought were my favorite ones for this list. Also, if you watched all the way to the end, I would really appreciate you hitting the notification bell if you haven't done so already. If you're on your phone, I think they've updated it now, so you can set your notifications to personalized or all. If you want to get notified whenever I upload a video, hopefully, click that bell and then click the all option. So yeah, like I said, thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you all in the next video, whatever that may be. And this is CDTV Productions, signing out.